Welcome everyone to another in the series of our DEPA video chats with our membership. This time we have Stephanie Canales. Stephanie is a board member of DEPA and has come on our executive committee within the last year. And we really appreciate her. She's been working hard on our membership committee and has worked with myself and Pete Regan trying to recruit new DEPA members, and is a really hard worker, especially for that voluntary position that she's accessed at our behalf, and we really appreciate that, and we appreciate Stephanie. Before I actually officially introduce you, I'll give you a chance to say anything you want to say up front, Stephanie.
Oh yeah, of course, Jerry. I just appreciate you asking me to become a part of this organization. I think that this group does a lot for small operators and independent producers, and I'm just very happy to help lend a voice and do my part, and appreciate you allowing me to come on and chat with you a little bit today about just my little world and background, and excited to jump right into it.
Let me do a little bit of the official bio stuff up front here. Stephanie is a graduate of University of Colorado at Colorado Springs. She's got her degrees in geography and environmental science with a minor in communications. And I think that's really interesting because when you look at her bio, she actually started her oil and gas career working for BP. And I assume that was down on the Gulf Coast, is that right?
Yeah, that was right after the Macondo blowout. So first big girl job.
Yeah, right. Great. Well, and then from that, she kind of springboarded into some other oil and gas positions. I think you ended up going to North Dakota during the Bakken boom days, and worked as a field sales representative for oil and gas service companies. You've also had positions with Schlumberger, Weatherford, BOS Solutions, and now recently you're with Cougar Drilling Solutions, and located in Denver, Colorado. And like I said, she's on our board of directors. I don't like reading bios all the way down, but something that happened this last year, that Stephanie was invited to participate in the Department of Energy's Equity and Energy Program, and it's all about the Office of Economic Impact and Diversity, kind of an outreach program from the DOE to the citizens of this country. And so Stephanie's kind of an ambassador, and we'll get her to talk a little about that as well. So tell us a little about your position at Cougar.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I started with Cougar Drilling Solutions. They're a downhole tool company. We do rental services in North America, but really we have more of an international presence since the last year. So I've been with Cougar about a year now. It was interesting because a little over a year ago, I was kind of wanting a change. I was with Boss Solutions for 5 years. It was a great company, a great team. I really enjoyed what I did. I had a lot of business throughout the Rockies. But I just really wanted to expand my technical expertise, and just so happened a recruiter contacted me and just came with this great opportunity with Cougar, and took my time to explore, talk to the people with Cougar, talk to my potential clients that would be within that realm, and just kind of ask them about the company. And everybody just had rave reviews about the company and the tools. So I really felt that it would be a great fit for me, and decided to pull the trigger third week of February last year, which also coincided with Colorado lockdown. So it was a really interesting and scary time to start a new position, but it's kind of written in stone, so I couldn't turn back. And I said, well, this is the path forward, and I'm just going to go with it. And here I am a year later, and I really couldn't be more proud to be with a great company with such a far reach in just all corners of the world. And I've learned a lot. It's been a great experience for me personally, as well as professionally. And just being able to see the oil field through another lens of just downhole drilling technology has been a really great experience. So I'm happy that I'm a part of Cougar, and can't wait to see what we do next. There's always new things in research and development. So, I mean, there's never a dull moment.
So maybe talk a little bit about 2020 then, and Cougar as a company, and how you guys weathered the whole pandemic. I know activity has picked up around the country and around the world since the beginning of the year. And how are things looking for you guys now? If you want to talk any about 2020 and how terrible it was for all of us, but then maybe what you see down the road and what Cougar's looking at in 2021.
Yeah, no, gosh, it's been incredible to kind of assess what's been going on for the last year, and I think I'm not alone. A lot of people, I mean, across all industries, we all wondered, what's going to happen next? What are we going to do? It takes a toll, I think, on everyone emotionally, physically, having a certain setup for work, whether you work downtown or out in the country or in an office setting or what have you. I mean, everybody was kind of thrown up in space with COVID, and having started a brand new position with the brand new tool line in a technological realm that I wasn't familiar with was very scary. So I'm happy I had the support. I've got a great team. Everybody was very supportive. We did a lot of Zoom calls. I think I transitioned pretty well from just doing a lot of face-to-face meetings and interactions to doing everything mostly online. And nowadays things have actually, I would say there's a happy medium, because I do travel. I have new territories now, which is something I don't think anybody really forecasted, but I'm definitely, charged up by it, because I've been in Denver 5 or 6 years now. So getting to know people in new cities and just having that exposure to just different circles has really been invigorating, and it's helped me in my learning curve. So it's been extremely challenging, but I would also say has leveled me up in quite a few ways, more than one. And I wouldn't take that experience back. I think I've earned a few gray hairs from the last year, but I earned them and I'm proud of them. And I just really wouldn't have done it any other way. And I'm very thankful that Cougar's just been a great supportive company. So I'm really looking forward to what we've got ahead. And like I said, there's a great research and development team. There's always new things kind of in the pipeline. In fact, we just had a meeting last week about a show of hands, what tool would you like to see come out next? And that's kind of neat to be able to have that kind of, participation level in the higher ranks of the company, where you can kind of decide, what tools are going to come out in the marketplace that are going to better serve your customers. So I'm just tickled that I can be a part of this, and I'm fortunate to be with a really great company.
Okay, that's wonderful. And you almost made me laugh out loud and interrupt your comments.
Why didn't you?
When you're talking about gray hairs, because some of us know what that is all about. And that actually leads right into
you earned them.
Every single one of them, you bet. But
every last one.
That leads into my next question for you, is as a young woman, and that's a compliment to you, with roughly 10 years experience in the oil and gas industry. Talk about that a little bit. What's that like? How do you feel about that as being, I think, as a female in this industry, you are probably a minority class. And what's that like? What's your experience been? And how do you view this in the future? If you had a young person that was just starting a college career today and said, well, maybe I would like to follow you in your career path, would you recommend that? So maybe talk a little bit about your own personal trek you've been on and what it feels like.
Yeah, I get extremely nostalgic every time I think about the path, because it has now been about 10 years, which encompasses, my oil and gas career, but also the last year of college and, where am I taking my life? Where's my career going? And wanting to get environmental work in some capacity. Starting out with BP, thinking that was, wow, this is exactly what I've always wanted to do my entire life. And then suddenly, as the contract work with BP was winding it down in Louisiana, I'm like 2 years later, what am I going to do next? Because there really wasn't much after that contract work with BP dried up. So I remember this specifically. Me and a couple of other colleagues with BP were down in Venice, Louisiana. And one of the shrimp captains, because the shrimp captains, obviously they couldn't fish during that time. So BP had hired them to take us during our channel and marsh studies. They had their boat up and we were shucking crustaceans off the bottom of the boat, and we're just kind of wasting time and burning the clock. And the shrimp captain says, hey, well, I could probably get you guys a job up at these man camps in North Dakota. And we're all kind of looking at each other like, what? Like, what's a man camp? And in North Dakota, like, what's up there and how is that relevant to our environmental work that we're doing down here? And it was funny because, a short time later, I ended up meeting some individuals that offered me an opportunity to go up to North Dakota and do field sales. And they said, well, what's your experience in sales? And I said, well, I've sold high-end wedding gowns. And they said, that'll do. When can you go up? So, I said, give me 2 weeks to go home for break, and I'll go up and start my first hitch January 1 in North Dakota, mind you. So it was extremely cold. So going from, South Louisiana and the swamps to basically an Arctic tundra was a huge culture shock. Really, I was looking to kind of just continue the adventure, and the paycheck, that was part of it. I enjoyed having a job right out of college, and I just wanted to keep rolling and make progress. And, it was exciting. The first week that I had in North Dakota was extremely memorable. I was living in a small trailer and the power kept going out, and it was -20. And at that time, I think it was 2012, so it was the Bakken boom. There really weren't a lot of services around. Everything was backed up. Shelves at Walmart were just completely wiped out. When I had no electricity, there wasn't just someone to call and come fix it. There was a 3-week, 4-week wait. So I was actually keeping my room warm with a blow dryer. And so the nights were not so great, but it really was motivating to get up in the morning, go sit in a warm truck and drive around and just go and visit rigs. So it was an exciting time, and it taught me a lot. I think it got tougher. Louisiana, working for BP was not an easy gig. It was very physically demanding, and a lot of mental challenge, just always on the go and working 2-week hitches. But it did prepare me for working in the oil field in North Dakota and starting in winter. And, basically what was a gold rush of the Bakken boom. And so an exciting time, a big learning curve, a lot of action, a lot of activity. But, if I could tell anybody, who's younger and maybe a female or just whoever, and is looking to just get into any sort of career path, like, don't be shy, have some curiosity, be open-minded, because you really just don't know where that path will lead you. And when I look at this time frame, 10 years later, I'm always really astounded at what I've accomplished in such a short period of time. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what I've done. I've skipped many years in between, but those first couple years, just taking risks, being open-minded, and having that curiosity really opened up a lot of doors, because I had a lot of apprehension being, an environmental scientist, switching industries to go and work for, the oil and gas companies. And I didn't know anything about it. I just really wanted to continue working and have the adventure keep on rolling. And I certainly got that in North Dakota. So I would advocate anybody to do what I did. It was definitely fun.
And so you do picture yourself continuing in this industry then for the foreseeable future?
Absolutely. And I'm open to whatever life throws at me. That's just my own personal philosophy. But since I'm so entrenched in what I do in oil and gas, I believe in this industry, and I've met a lot of incredible people, and the innovation just, it blows my mind. And I tell people all the time, if if I could help explain what I saw in North Dakota, as far as drilling operations, that's kind of my background, to the way it is now, the amount of ingenuity that goes into drilling, completions, production. I know there's all sides of oil and gas, but just for the drilling side, it's astounding. People are very, very forthright thinking. People are environmentalists in this industry. And, the consolidation of rigs, the consolidation of the footprint, the advancement in downhole drilling technology, allowing operators to save money. All of these things are really fascinating, and it's a great story to tell people, especially to former environmental scientist friends that I have. It's great just to tell them things that they just maybe don't know about, and I'm happy to actually spread that word to others too, because it's a story that I don't think is told often enough.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I have likened some of the work that has gone on in the oil field over the last 10 years with a moonshot, and that the engineering and the technology involved today in our oil and gas industry is something most people have absolutely no idea what it's like, and the science behind it and everything that goes on. I know we did a trip to the Balkan, and we took some folks with the Council for Secure America out there a number of years ago, and after going into a trailer and witnessing an actual frack job being done, and the trailer was small, so we couldn't all fit in there. But when they came out, and I was talking to one of the guys, I said, "So what did you think of that?" And he was dumbfounded. He couldn't even speak. He said, "It was nothing like I expected." And I said, "You thought it was going to be witchcraft and voodoo or something." And actually what you just saw was engineering and science at the highest levels, outside of something like a moonshot. And he said, "You're absolutely right." He said, "The technology just blew me away." And so he was incredibly impressed and ready to go back to Manhattan and tell everybody he knew that, that this is not what he's been led to believe. So yeah,
it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's great. Now, you said, kind of in the way you talk about the industry, it's interesting to me because I think we both have the same experience, is that the people that you've met along the way, it's obvious that they're kind of salt of the earth types that you get along with. They're all regular folks from those field people that you've met working out in North Dakota in January, to people like our chairman, Harold Hamm. They're just all regular folks. They want to go do an honest day's work for honest day's pay and provide, the energy we all need. And I think some people just forget that. Oh, oil and gas, you're a bunch of fat cats, and don't realize there's people like us out there.
Oh yeah. I mean, we'll get down in the trenches if we have to, and we will. I mean, I enjoy going to the field to this day because I think it keeps you grounded, and you just get that perspective. It's like going to see where your food comes from. It's like going to visit the farm. I mean, it's not always a pretty or an easy job, but it's necessary and it's needed. And yeah, you're exactly right. I think, we kind of cut from the same fabric, and just, we'll go out there and we'll go, shovel or sling pipe or whatever we have to do. I mean, we're not the experts, but if we had to do it, we'll take a stab at it.
Yeah. Well, and again, since getting to know you, you're an incredible advocate for our industry, and everybody watching this needs to get to know Stephanie, because she truly is, and maybe that's why you're in a sales position with Cougar. But truly, you're a great ambassador for us. You want to talk a little about the DOE ambassador program that you're in?
I would love to. Yeah. And it's funny because, again, it's one of those things I never really thought would find me, but I think just having the curiosity and the willingness to kind of look into something new, this really particularly fits well in my background, just by, being a woman, and I don't have a STEM background per se, but knowing more about the oil and gas industry and all the technologies that go into it, having a STEM enhancement program and different opportunities that surround that is very important. I think that getting the word out on a lot of these opportunities that are available to people and these different programs, we can help folks get into positions just like you and I have gone through. And certainly if I had been maybe in a STEM program, I could have expedited my path, but I had a fun 10 years and I have a lot of different experiences. So with the Department of Energy's Equity and Energy Program, I was recruited by Director James Campos, the former director, and I'm one of their millennial picks and chosen for just geographic purposes, being out of the Rockies. And, you know, what we like to focus on as ambassadors is really just promoting the 7 pillars of equity and energy. And I'll just kind of list those off, and those go from energy innovation and alternative fuels, STEM enhancement, technical assistance, supplier diversity, workforce development, energy affordability, and national labs. So my particular pillar that I focus on is energy innovation and alternative fuels, but I kind of do touch on a little of all of them because I think I have an interest in all of them, and I think they're all important to advocate. One thing I don't know that a lot of people are aware of is that we have 17 national labs. Is that something that you have had any awareness about, or it was new to me? I know about NREL because it's here in Golden, but I wasn't familiar with all the others across the U.S.
Yeah, me personally, I once had my own company, and for 7 years, I was a contractor to a DOE national lab.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, and you know, it was something I wasn't familiar with. So I think it's really cool to just be able to share that these are available for people to learn more about, and they do hold their own programs. In fact, I know of on Eventbrite, if you look up the equity and energy awareness, interest, and access little tagline within Google, there's different events that you can attend. They're kind of like these Zoom webinars, and they kind of just highlight the lab itself, and they have different speakers, and just helps people get more familiar with what the lab does, and you know what programs and workshops they have available. One I think is pretty cool is that the one we have here in Golden, Colorado, which is NREL, and they have an emphasis on geothermal. So that's a really cool program, and I think kind of once some of the COVID protocols drop down, I definitely love to go check out the facility and just kind of see what they're all about. But no, it's a fantastic initiative. I'm really honored to be considered for it. I think I've got a good platform for just being an oil and gas advocate, you know, being millennial, being a female, and also Hispanic. To be able to speak on these issues and try to just help get people more engaged in the conversation, because, you know, America will be a minority majority in 20, 30 years time. And I think it's important to have as many qualified and competent people in the talent pipeline so that our workforce is ready and prepared in the next 10, 15, 20 years. It's a national security issue. So just being able to let people know this is available to them, and at least just kind of perk that interest and that curiosity, just like I had. I think that's really the ultimate goal, is to get people engaged in more conversations surrounding the equity and energy program.
Well, good. That's really fascinating. I did not know about that program. Like I said, I am familiar with the national labs. That was a fun time in my life as well. But yeah, yeah, you're going to be a great ambassador. I hope they continue the program under the current administration.
Yes, and I have a really good feeling it will. I mean, it's a great program, and there's I don't remember the number. It's 25 different ambassadors, so there's quite a few people involved across different spectrums that are advocating for this. So the message is going to get out one way or another.
Well, and again, having you as an ambassador and representing oil and gas in that group of 25, we couldn't have anyone's better, I don't think, in that position. So yeah, that's great. And that kind of leads into my last question, and we'll kind of close things out then. but just about DEPA and your involvement. And you have, like I said at the beginning, you have been an incredible advocate for us. And I mean, we really appreciate that. Our part of our membership committee and trying to find us new members. And like I said, Pete and I came up there and you know, you did a little event with some potential new members and always wanting to help us out. Maybe if you want to talk a little bit about that and DEPA and how you see this organization might help some others that aren't current members, and maybe we'll send this video to them.
Yeah, no, it's funny. The first person I met with DEPA was Pete, and we met at the Bakken conference. I think it was in Bismarck, North Dakota, and we got to chatting, and I met Blue Halsey, and I thought it was a fascinating group of people, and Harold Ham was next to my booth. I was with Boss Solutions at the time, and I was like, what is all this press doing over here, and what's going on? And you know, Pete and Blue came over and we chatted, and you know, the story is now I'm here with DEPA, and he's been saying, hey, join DEPA, and I read up on you guys, and I just thought, wow, this is a great organization, and there's some great people involved. And you know, meeting all of you at the last fall retreat was just incredible, just being in a room with so many influential people. And I thought, you know, there's not an organization that I'm currently involved with, and you know, DEPA just really seemed to fit the bill. And so I volunteered for, you know, being on the membership committee. It seemed a fitting background with my business development and sales, and just really started talking to a lot of people about our message and joining. And you know, our strength in numbers really is effective for the work that you guys do and promote in Washington. So it really has become ingrained within me to be an advocate for oil and gas. It does become personal, especially with some of the more recent things that have happened with the new administration. It's personal. You know, people call and they're directly affected by some of the things that are happening in DC. And so I feel very invested to just do my part to help be the conduit, to help lend a conversation to the right parties. And it's fulfilling for me just to be able to help bridge that gap. And really, if we can just open up the dialogue, I think that's a great starting point. Getting more people engaged in conversation is going to help all of our cause and make this a little bit easier moving forward.
All right, Stephanie Canales, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Take care.